Hello students, welcome to Matrix YouTube channel. Today we are here for the discussion of solution for the paper of STSC which was held on 18th of December 2022. So we will start for subject physics and our question number first is, so in first question it is asked that the physical quantity which has a Newton per kg is, okay, we have to find out of these four quantities which will have unit Newton per kg. Let me explore this Newton first. Newton can be written as kg meter per second square. Okay, so we can see for the energy the unit is joule, or we can say joule, or we can write it Newton meter. For force the unit is Newton. Similarly, for momentum, the formula for momentum is mass into velocity. So we can write it kg meter per second. So if we talk about acceleration, so Newton per kg, that means it can be written as kg meter per second square. And if it is divided by kg, then it becomes only meter per second square. That is the unit of acceleration. So correct answer is option D. Next question is, if M and N are two objects with masses 8 kg and 32 kg respectively, then, so the mass of M is 8 kg and the mass of N is 32 kg. That means the mass of N is greater than mass of M. So we'll check which option is correct. M has more inertia than N. So it is a wrong statement, because inertia is a property of a body which is a measure of mass. So the body which will have more mass will have more inertia. So in that case we will see option number B, N has more inertia than M. This is the correct answer. So correct option is option B. Next question is question number 3. A body of 4 kg is moving on a smooth floor in a straight line with uniform velocity of 20 meter per second. The resultant force acting on a body is. As in this question it is given here, the body is moving on a smooth floor. That means there is no opposing force, there is no friction force, and it is moving with uniform velocity. That means the acceleration of body is 0. So from laws of motion we can say the body will remain in its state of rest or motion until any external force is required. So if there is no opposing force, body will keep moving with the same velocity without any external force. So the resultant force acting on a body will be 0. So correct answer will be option D. Next question, question number 4. In question number 4, it is given that two objects of masses 200 gram and 400 gram are moving along the same line and direction with velocities of 4 meter per second and 2 meter per second respectively. The ratio of their momentum will be. So let us check what quantities are given. Let us have the first body having mass m1, which can be written as, it is given 200 grams. So I am converting it into kg because the speed is given in meter per second in SI system. So I am converting this 200 gram into kg. So it will become 0.2 kg. Similarly, the mass of second body, let's say M2, which is given here 400 gram, I'm converting into it in kg, which becomes 0.4 kg, and their velocities are respectively given. Let's say V1, which is equals to 2 meter per second, and then V2 is equals to V1 is given 4 meter per second and V2 is given 2 meter per second. We have to calculate the ratio of their momentum. So first of all, we will calculate the momentum for both bodies. So for first body, let's say momentum is P1, which becomes M1 into V1, which is equals to 0.2 multiplied by 4, and the answer will be for P1 0.8. Okay, unit will be kg meter per second. Similarly, the momentum of second body P2 will be given by M2 into V2, which is equals to 0.4 multiplied by 2, which is also equal to 0.8 kg meter per second. So as we know that momentum of both bodies are equal, so their ratio will be 1:1. So correct answer will be the option C. Next question, question number 5. In this question, it is given when a body is immersed in a liquid, the buoyant force that acts on the body will be. Whenever body is immersed in any liquid, then buoyant force always act in upward direction. So directly we can answer this question. The correct option will be option B, that is vertically upwards. Next question, question number 6. Acceleration of a freely falling bodies. So what is freely falling body? Whenever any body is falling under the influence of only gravity, then it is said the motion is under free fall. So during free fall, all bodies experience gravitational acceleration whose value is given by small g is equals to 9.8 meter per second square. So the value of this acceleration during freely fall does not changes. So acceleration of a freely falling bodies will be always constant. So correct answer will be the option C. Next question, question number 7. In question number 7, it is given relative density of silver is 7.6. The density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. Then the density of silver in SI unit will be. So we have to calculate density, but we have to remember the answer should be in SI unit, that means in kg per meter cube. So let us write the formula first. For relative density, the formula will be density of silver divided by density of water. Okay, so in this case, density of silver will be given by relative density multiplied by density of water. So when we find the value by calculation, it will become 7.6 multiplied by 1. But this answer is in gram per centimeter cube. When we will convert it into SI system, the answer will become 7.6 multiplied by 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. So the correct answer will be option D. How we will convert it? We will see here. For gram, if we will convert into kg, it becomes 10 to the power minus 3. In denominator, it will become 10 to the power minus 6. Okay. So by solving this easily, we will get the answer option D. Next question, question number 8. In question number 8, it is given the value of universal gravitational constant, that means capital G. The value of universal gravitational constant does not change anywhere. Its value is fixed, and in all of the 4 options, the first term is correct, 6.673, 6.673. Then we know that the power should be in minus 11. So it is 6.673 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 11. Now we have 2 options here which are having 10 to the power minus 11 in option C and option D. Now we will check which of the option is having the correct units. So we know that the correct unit is Newton meter square per kg. So correct answer will be the option D. Next question, question number 9. An object of mass 2 kg is moving with a constant velocity of 2 meter per second. How much work is needed against the object in order to bring it to rest? So a body of 2 kg mass is moving with the initial velocity 2 meter per second. We want to stop that body, and we want to calculate that how much work we will do to stop that body. So in this question, we will use the concept of work energy theorem. First of all, I am writing the given quantities here. The mass of body is given 2 kg. And then its initial velocity is given 2 meter per second. Then after, we know that in the last body will stop. So its final velocity V becomes 0. Okay. So by using the concept of work energy theorem, it is said the net work done on any body is equals to the change in kinetic energy of body, which can be written as W equal to K final minus K initial. So K final minus K initial, which can be written as half mv square minus half mu square. So we can see this term will become 0 because final velocity is 0. So work done will be equal to minus half m into u square by putting the values minus 1 upon 2 multiplied by value of m is 2 and value of u is also 2 ka square, that means 4, which becomes equal to 4. So negative sign is representing that work has been in opposition, and the correct answer will be the option C, that is 4 joule. Next question, question number 10. The angle between force and displacement for negative work will be. So for this we will write the formula of force first. Formula of work first. Formula of work is given by F into S into cos theta. F is the applied force, S is displacement, and theta is the angle between force and displacement. Whenever the value of cos theta is negative, the work done will be also negative. So we can see here for cos 0, the value of cos 0 is positive, and the value of cos 180 is minus 1. So whenever there is an angle 180 in this situation, the work done will be negative. So the correct answer will be option B. Next question, question number 11. If work, force, time are represented by PQR, then term P upon QR will represent. So let us see, for work, that means W is denoted by P, and for force, that is F, which is denoted by here capital Q, and the time, that is small t, which is denoted by R. Now let us check, we will decode this formula by this situation. So for P, I can write W divided by, for Q, I can write F, and for R, I can write T. So in this situation, formula of work is given by force into displacement, if cos theta is 1, okay, and divided by F multiplied by T. Here F is cancelled by F, remaining is S upon T, that is displacement upon time, and we know that displacement upon time is equals to velocity. So correct answer is option C. Okay, next question, question number 12. So in this question there are two diagrams given here, and it is our correct relation for work done by gravitational force in path 1 and path 2. Any object is taken from path 1 to from this point to this point by this path along a straight line, and in second case object is taken to the same height but the path is different. Okay, so we know that gravitational force is a conservative force, and conservative force does not depend on the nature of path, they depends on initial and final position of motion. So in that case we can say work done by gravitational force in both of the cases will be equal. So correct answer will be option A. Next question, in question number 13, it is given the refractive index of glass is 1.5. That means let us write, sometimes in some book refractive index is represented by n, or sometimes it is also represented by mu. Okay, so I am writing it here by n. Refractive index of glass, that means Ng, which is given by 1.50. Speed of light in air is given by, I am writing it by C because it is equal to the value of C, that is speed of light in vacuum, that is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. Then we have to calculate the speed of light in glass. So we know that Ng, which is equals to C divided by V. So from here we have to calculate the value V, that is the speed of light in glass. So V is equals to become C divided by Ng. Now putting the values, 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by 1.5. So we'll get the answer 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So the correct answer will be the option B. Next question, question number 14. In question number 14, it is given very simple question. We all know that it is a direct factual question. So correct relation between object distance, image distance and focal length of a spherical mirror. So we have to find which of the following is correct mirror equation. We know that very simply we can say option D, 1 upon V plus 1 upon U is equals to 1 upon F. Okay, so for mirror it is a mirror equation. So correct relation will be option D. Next, question number 15. In question number 15, nature of focal length of a lens of power plus 2.0 diopter. So we have given here power, okay, that is plus 2.0 diopter. So we have two lenses, concave and convex, and we know that the focal length of convex lens is positive and the formula of power is given by 1 upon F. That means F is equals to becomes 1 upon P. So we know that the power of convex lens is positive. That means focal length of convex lens will also positive. So out of these 4 options, the correct answer will be convex lens, but we have to find the focal length. So I am writing the value here 1 upon 2, which becomes 0.5 meter, because diopter is SI unit. So focal length will be in meters. When we convert this 0.5 meter, which becomes 50 centimeter, which is also in positive. So the correct answer will be option C, that is convex lens with plus 50 centimeter focal length. Okay. Next question, question number 16. In question number 16, it is asked the image formed by a concave mirror is of same size, real, inverted when object is placed where? Okay. So we know that the concave mirror made always real image except one case, when object is placed between focus point and pole. Except this case, in all of the 5 cases, the image is real in nature, and whenever the image is real, it is inverted. But the condition is given, the size is same. We know that when object is placed at infinity, the image is formed at F and the size is small. Okay, and when we move object near toward concave mirror, then the position of image moves in opposite direction, and size of image becomes equal to the size of object when it is placed at center of curvature. That means correct answer will be C. In that case, the image will be of same size, real and inverted. So correct answer is option C. Next question, question number 17. In 17th question, simple question, twinkling of stars is due to. So we know that twinkling of stars is based on atmospheric refraction. So correct option is option D. Okay, next question, question number 18. In question number 18, the human eye can focus on objects at different distances by adjusting the focal length of eye. This is due to. So we know that human eye can change the focal length of its lens, due to which it is we are able to see object placed at near end and far end clearly. And out of these 4 options, the option A, option B and option D, these are the eye defects, and the ability of eye lens to change its focal length is called accommodation power of eye. So for this we can say the correct answer will be option C. Next question is question number 19. In question number 19, it is given, if 2 joule of work is done to move a charge of 2 coulomb between 2 points of a circuit from one point to another point, then the potential difference between these 2 points. So we know that the formula for potential is given by V is equals to work done divided by charge. Here we have the work done is 2 joule divided by the amount of charge is also 2 coulomb, which becomes 1 volts. So the potential difference will be 1 volt, and the correct answer will be option B. Next question. In question number, in question number 20, a certain household has consumed 100 units of energy during November month. Its value in joule will be. We know that 1 joule is equals to 1 unit is equals to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules. So we have to convert 100 units into joule. So in this case, 100 units will be equal to 3.6 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 100, which becomes 10 to the power 8 joules. So the correct answer will be the option B, that is 3.6 into 10 raised to power 8. Next question, question number 21. In question number 21, it is asked that the electric power of an electric appliance is given by. We know that the power of any electric appliance is given by V into I, or it can be written as V square divided by R, or it can be written as I square into R. So we can see out of these 4 options, the correct answer will be option B, that is I into V. So correct answer is option B. Next question, question number 22. In question number 22, we have to calculate the value of equivalent resistance between terminal A and B. So we can see here by using the series parallel combination formula, and we will start from the smaller loop. So these 2 and 2 are in series, which becomes equal to 4. Now in spite of writing these two resistance, I am writing only one, which is of 4. Now this 4 ohm is in parallel with 4 ohm resistance and both are equivalent. Then both are equal resistance, and in that case the equivalent resistance can be calculated by R by N, which is 4 divided by 2. So combination of this will becomes 2 ohm. Now we can see this 2 ohm and this 2 ohm is in series. So in this branch total resistance will become 4 ohm, which is in parallel configuration with this 4 ohm, and 4 and 4 in parallel will becomes 2 ohm. So the correct answer will be the option D, that is 2 ohm. Okay. Next question. Next is 23. A device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Very simple. We know that electric generator is a device which converts electrical energy into electric generator is a device which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. Transformer is a electromagnetic device which is used to step up or step down voltage. Voltmeter is used to measure potential difference, and electric motor is a device which converts electric energy into mechanical energy. So correct answer is option C. Next question, question number 24. The magnetic field inside a long straight solenoid carrying current. So we know that the magnetic field inside solenoid is uniform because it is in shape of parallel lines. Okay, so magnetic field inside a current carrying solenoid is the same at all points. So correct answer will be option D. Next question, question number 25. And it is the frequency of an alternating current is 50 Hertz. So we have given frequency, that is 50 Hertz. It is saying in how much time does it reverse its direction. So let us draw the wave of AC. So it is just like a sine wave, and the time in which complete cycle is completed is called time period, that is T. We can see if this is T, then this is the time T by 2. And this is called positive half cycle, this is called negative half cycle. We can see the polarity of AC current changes in each T by 2 time. So we have to find the value of this T by 2 time. So the time is given capital T divided by 2. We know that inverse of time period can be written, or we can say inverse of time period is called frequency, or vice versa. So T can be written as 1 upon F multiplied by 2, which we can write 1 upon 50 multiplied by 2, which becomes 1 by 100 second. So AC reverses its direction in each 1 by 100 second. So correct answer will be the option C. Okay, so this was the paper of STSC for physics. Thank you very much.